Chaffee.
We do have this nice little format that we try to follow every week. We don't usually follow it.
And Rodney Rodriguez.
Entertain me. Tell me something. I need to know something other than what I'm seeing.
Y'all ready? All right, here we go. Here's Bobby and Rodney.
It is another Monday, and we are live with hashtag Real Race Talk from Texas. It is the Revved Up Sports Show. Showtime, Bobby Chaffee, Rodney Rodriguez. As we embark on a brand new week, we had great racing action all weekend. I-37 doing their thing. And again, right there, Bobby, we are into big show time of year. And that's always a good time when we get to the end of racing season.
Yeah, the big time money shows, we're back at it again. I actually passed I-37 there on Saturday, going down to the wedding of Butch and Lisa, and got to see there was a bunch of cars heading that way there on our drive down there. Looks like there were still quite a few cars left over from the Friday night show. Then we passed by Saturday afternoon. Looked like there were still some cars left over when we drove by Sunday afternoon. So they had, it looks like they had one hell of a turnout down there, especially with what little bit I got to catch with our friends from Race on Texas. Yeah,
looked really good there, and good job for them. I mean, let's talk about that. So the DTK Memorial right there, it was definitely a Stephen Whitaker show right there. As you had on Saturday, you had Stevie wins in the modifieds, Factory Stocks, Donald Kane Jr. over Caden Honeycutt. Limited modifieds, it is Whitaker winning that as well. On Friday, in the late models, Stevie wins that one. Stevie wins the limited modifieds in that one as well. And then Factory Stock, you had G.W. Hessong, a good friend of the show right there as well. And Donald Kane right behind him. So good competition, good a bunch of good cars, and good for 37. Get that show in there. I know that there was some controversy over trying to figure out go-karts or whatever they were doing. I'm like, come on. Let's just have the race. Let's just have the races.
Sorry, I got sidetracked watching somebody get mossed on the TV there in the studio. But, the funny part is that the and this is no disrespect to the go-karts, right? Like, they're a great class. It's how we get the next generation
That ain't
involved.
the show.
The problem is that they're a great resource, but they are a great deal of headache. They are, it's kind of like Little League Baseball. It's the
parents.
It's not the kids.
The parents
it's not the kids that the problem is. It's the parents that
it.
cause some of the problems and the confusion and some of the headache. But they do a great job with it down at L87. God bless Owen and Lawrence for doing what they do down there at L87 with all those young kids, trying to get them to be the next generation. I think there's L87 starting up their winter series here in a little bit.
Yeah.
Looks like more information to follow from the Facebook post I saw this afternoon. So. Looks like that could be a lot of fun. Both of us got to go by and looked at Texas North Wilkesboro Speedway.
Yeah, that was sad to see. That's sad to see because such a great place right there is CC Speedway, and she gone.
Yeah, she gone. Well, no, not completely, but there's a good section of it. Looks like a mini Texas World Speedway with the way that some of the corners and the backstretch are missing out of there.
Well, I saw somebody said there's still hope. I'm like, for what? I mean, what hope for what? I mean that they'll leave the oval, and maybe just park junk cars in there. I mean, it's gone. I mean, it's a done deal.
It's done. Like if you see it in person, it looked like it was done before.
Well,
but if you go by there now, it's really done.
And that transaction is done. I mean, it ain't coming back. It ain't coming back as a racetrack. But on the show tonight, we have, and we had to modify because we were going to talk to Johnny Clark, who won yet another 7-time, past tour championship. Some issues there, not logistical, but just some other stuff. Johnny not able to hop on the telephone tonight, so we have actually shifted around a little bit. We're at 6:45 coming up in just a little bit. We'll have our man Phil Whipple, who kind of double dips, helps us out, part of Race on Texas with our 2021 Texas Short Track Promoter of the Year. We'll have that. And then coming up a little bit later, 7:15 our time, Hunter Johnson will jump on. Another big win at Mobile. And way to go, Mobile. I mean, way to get the stands were a little more fuller. More full than the last time. More capacity. So good for them. Looked like a good night there.
You had it all right with Fuller. I mean, we are.
Fuller, yeah.
That passes for an adjective and descriptive term there in Alabama.
You ain't never lie.
So Fuller, the stands were a little bit more adequately packed, and the stands were more conducive to a larger capacity due to the fact that they were, an increase in size since you had people coming out on the workday helping to put them up.
Con-freaking-ducive.
You know what's funny? Every time they add bleachers and stuff to Mobile, they fill them up.
I know.
It's like bring your own bleacher.
That's people that want to show up. That's hungry race fans. That is hungry race fans that want to be at the racetrack, and that's always been the problem around here that I talk about. When everybody says, I miss San Antonio, I'm like, you had 3 chances. There were 4 races that year, and everybody showed up, and everybody
was there for race number 1.
And their neighbor, and then it just slowly started slowing down. Oh, they rained out. The races rained out. Okay, well, but we're going to race some more. No, can't make it.
Funny how that happens.
Yeah. Speaking of being a race fan, look, I know people here are soured on NASCAR. I've got some sound bites that I want to play because we can't play them on the Saturday show because there's some editing.
Technically we could, but we have to take a lot to edit.
Had to bleep stuff out. But look, if you didn't enjoy what we saw yesterday on the Cup Series, and Phil Whipple's coming up, so we'll have him in just a minute. But if you didn't enjoy what we saw in the Cup Series and you're a real race fan, you want people pissed off at each other, you want the emotion, you want all of that stuff, you want the Bowman Gray feel, well then I think
it was there.
Yeah, I think that something is missing here because here's part of it.
You didn't do anything wrong today, I don't think. Are you surprised at the fan reaction to you? I mean, how you're getting booed right now?
It's just Chase Elliott fans, man. They're just they don't think straightly.
Straightly.
All right, Dustin, go ahead.
Dustin Long, NBC Sports. A couple things. One, does that bother you?
No, not at all. They're gonna boo the shit out of me next week. I can tell you that.
All right, go ahead.
Michael Massey, the front stretch. Chase, I don't know if you heard what Denny said when he was in here or not, but he said the people booing him were Chase fans and that they don't think straightly, to quote him. How does a comment like that make you feel that he kind of took a shot at your fan base?
I'm going to lose so much sleep tonight. Like, I might not sleep at all. That's how concerned I am.
All right, we're going to go.
My fans don't care either, by the way.
I mean, so how bad is that? I know people don't like the new NASCAR or whatever the case may be, but for crying out loud, that's what we want. I mean, we want the emotion, we want the personality, and I'm here to tell you, Bobby, that this Sunday thing could turn into a total shit show with the personalities that we have in this Final Four.
It could definitely lead to a very interesting race with some of the different personalities, as you mentioned. I think that what it is that you have it's like the young and the old, right? Like you've got the 2 grizzled veterans there in Denny Hamlin and Martin Truex. To me, I think Truex has the advantage because he hadn't really pissed anybody off.
He's just kind of hiding right now.
Just right there hiding. And he won the spring race in Phoenix, so we know he can get it done around there. So I think, obviously the road to the championship goes through Kyle Larson, but we have seen some spots in that armor that bullets can go through. Sometimes they're self-induced bullets that come from the inside out of the tank, but clearly the championship is going to go through the 5 team. with the way that they've been rolling, and it's almost you gotta pull for Kyle Larson to win
For sure. I mean, it's going to suck.
because he's won so many.
Yeah, if he doesn't win, yeah.
The backlash from the hardcore fans that never watch this shit anymore,
Yeah.
that constantly bitch about it and moan about it on social media. The reaction from that fan base is going to be crazy when they're like, he won all those races. He should be champion. This playoff system sucks. But if he wins, it's like he whooped their ass all season.
Yeah, yeah. But here we go. Bad guy number one. Everybody loves Earnhardt. Loved him. But Denny, not only when he said that was in the media center. He had already said this.
He's just a hack. He's just an absolute hack. He gets his ass kicked by his teammates every week, and just, he's terrible. He's just terrible, and he
knew he
sees one
dropped the
opportunity, and he
Yeah,
takes
yeah,
it.
he
But
did.
obviously, he's got the fastest car every week, and he runs 10th. So he didn't want to race us there. We had a good, clean race. I moved up as high as I could on the racetrack to give him all the room I could, and he still can't drive.
See, everybody, it's when we talk about these guys not having a personality, whatever it may be, there it is right there. And there's so many folks that are, oh no, that's stupid. I'm like, well, what do you want? I mean, what are you looking for? I mean, this thing sets up so nicely. I happen to love the fact. I mean, I like Chase Elliott, and I love the fact that there are people that are calling him out. I mean. It all goes back to that fan base where it's like, oh well, we're talking about Chase, and the thing with Bowman. I mean, Bowman admitted what he did there, but again, that's the beauty of this and the beauty of the playoffs. It's like time to race. Let's go get it.
I mean, you're down to the last one, right? Once the green flag drops, the BS stops.
The bullshit stops.
I mean, that's definitely going to be the case on Sunday, but. I thought, I was at my parents' house and they don't have the DVR to go back and rewind it back. Mm-hmm. But I really thought he dropped the F-bomb. It was a subtle F-bomb in there. Like you had to go in and kind of listen. We have to sometimes listen for that because we have to keep ourselves from saying that when we're on the Saturday show.
Right.
But, I thought that's what I heard with a little F-bomb dropped in there, but he won't have to go to sensitivity training like Kyle Busch.
Yeah, and that's a tough one there, and we may have that sound later. But I just think it's a tough scenario right now. But again, you applaud NASCAR because they let them do this. The NFL, they would squash this thing, and I saw some folks talking about, Kyle Busch, don't let him race. Are you kidding me? Or Denny Hamlin, park him. No, I mean, if NASCAR did that, you want to talk about some backlash? Let these guys, they're letting them have the personality. They are having that personality. I mean, this is the Cale Yarborough, Darrell Waltrip, whatever it may be, Jeremy Mayfield. I mean, this is modern day stuff right now. And they're doing this, and seriously, for crying out loud, like you talk about, if Larson doesn't win the championship, yes, part of me will think it's a travesty. He should be the champion, which he is, the regular season champion. But, you got one race. I compared this on a podcast on the podcast I did the other day. The year that the Patriots were undefeated and they didn't win the Super Bowl, they got beat by a 9-7 Giants team. Nobody said, well, the Giants, forget that. The Patriots should be the Super Bowl champions. Bullshit. You win on championship day. I love this.
Well, I think so, but I think the problem is Denny Hamlin almost got to that point where he could have been fined by NASCAR.
Sure.
By that, the coming in, doing the Bowman Gray style, bumping him, doing the burnout and stuff.
And why are people mad?
Borderline could have fined him, but they didn't. They could have.
And why are people mad at that when we see it at the local track all the time where guys want to fight and people are interrupting a victory lane thing at a short track? Why is it so bad that it's happening there at Martinsville when we thrive to have that every week at the short track?
Well, I guess because they're professionals. They're not supposed to do that.
Well, but
maybe.
They don't have a personality.
I appreciated it. I was up and yelling at the TV. I was like, "Oh, here we go!" When Bowman popped him, I was like, "Oh, he got him!" Because you don't expect that out of Alex Bowman.
Yeah, and there's other video because if you actually go, I think I posted it somewhere, but there's other video where Hamlin's in his car when he's doing that. He's doing the double. I mean, he's dropping the double birds. I mean,
really?
Oh yeah, man, dude. This was this was Hamlin ready to get out of the car and kick his ass, and I'm surprised he didn't. But you had the guy in his ear telling him.
Crew chief was like, "Calm down, big picture." But I think it's Denny Hamlin beating himself because he's getting all worked up and has all this attention and attraction and all that. It's going to get inside his head, and he's not going to be able to win a championship next week.
This is where Denny Hamlin has made mistakes in the past, and I think that this will be a real test to see if he can get past this, put the emotions aside. He still has the other distractions with Miss Fish, I guess. I mean, I don't know what happened with that, but there's a lot that's happening here, and like you were saying, I really do think that with all four of these guys, I think that our man Truex is kind of the guy that's sitting there, and Blake's going to get that car. Car Chief Blake is going to get that car running. I mean, Truex might sneak up and just snatch this thing away. And that's really going to be when the shit hits a fan, because so many people, Truex has been so far off the mark. For him to go steal this championship, it'll be Jimmy Johnson in 2016.
Well, I think part of it, too, is I bet they put the tires on the right side this time.
Yeah, good point.
Because if they didn't do that, he'd be a two-time champion going for number 3.
Yeah, that's a great point. So we're getting ready. We're going to go over to the hotline because it's a big night right here. We've got lots of stuff to cover here on the program, but we are super excited. Hang on one second here. I got to do one thing. There we go. Going to the hotline. It is one of our favorite friends. I mean, he does such great work for us here with Revved Up, and he's a part of Race on Texas and just a true professional racing journalist. It is our man Phil Whipple. Phil, how we doing, buddy?
We are doing very, very well. Good evening, sir. Good evening, Mr. Chappie. Good to be with you guys again this evening.
It was a lot of fun. Our conversation of the day, Phil. I was actually talking to my wife about who you were talking about working on trying to get us on, which we'll announce way later. But that was she asked me about you and all your connections. I said, well, hell, he's from up north. He knows every Yankee that's up there.
Yeah, that's fairly accurate. All us Yankees, what did one guy that's being interviewed recently on a thing? One of them Yankee. Oh, no, I'm the guy you talked to from the one at Mobile or something. Yankee asses when he was talking about Jason Wells. Right? He said they meet one of them Yankee asses. He said so. No, you're right. We hang together, Bobby, but we're pretty good folks, as you've grown to find out.
Yeah, no, really good people, and you, my friend, are such a valuable addition to us, and for Race on Texas for all the great work that you do. We talked about, and I want to thank you because you were actually the one that made the connection with us with Johnny Clark. He's not able to be a part of us tonight, but I mean, talk about that guy. I mean, to win 7 championships, I mean, obviously you think of NASCAR Cup racing or whatever, but 7 championships for him in the past tour, and just the span of time that he has done this. I mean, what a great resume this guy's put together.
It's amazing. We used to call, I forgot, the late Stub Fadden, I think, was one of them we called the Iron Man here in New England.
Yeah.
Johnny's becoming kind of the Iron Man. Like him and Ben Rowe, they've owned that past tour, boys, for years and years and years. Johnny, if you've seen the photos, and I know you did, getting a little thin on top, kind of almost a chrome dome like you, Rodriguez, and got the whole gray in his beard, a lot of gray in his beard like Pat Whipple does.
Thanks
Johnny's been doing
that.
this a long, long time, but boy, do I have enormous respect for that man. To be still running as competitively it is, and to beating all these young guns and holding off all these guys like he did and win that 7th title this year and lock it up down at Seekonk a week ago Saturday, that really is a heck of an accomplishment. And the man had a pretty extensive resume anyway. Boy, everybody around here in New England was so thrilled for Johnny last year when he finally nailed down the Oxford 250.
Yeah.
And, of course, this year, that's right back up again with hugs and handshakes for that 7th past title. You boys know the past tour, that's kind of no easy cakewalk. There's a lot of tough guns on that deal, and they run all over all kinds of bull rings around the Northeast up here. And so Johnny, to have that kind of consistency that he put together, I know Shane Tesh and all the guys, at Port City are really ecstatic because Johnny's been one of those diehard Port City racing guys for quite a while. And so he's now carrying the colors, bright colors for Port City. And I'm happy for all those people. That really is quite an accomplishment.
Absolutely.
So, Phil, I got a question for you before we get on to the business at hand here. Is the New England racing up there, that super late model, pro late model type of cars that you guys have up there, is it just now starting to get enough coverage where people are really paying attention to how damn good the racing is up there with your guys?
It's it's getting more and more, buddy. It's, Tom Mayberry that owns Oxford Plains Speedway and founded and continues to run the Fast Series. I founded it way back in '01. Tom has kept kicking the ball and working it. And I'd like to think that deal he had with the good boys at Speed 51 doing a lot of his shows, a lot of Oxford stuff and a lot of fast stuff has gained some notoriety for that tour. And yours truly, I've worked pretty hard to kind of blow the horn of Past North, and I'm doing it, for example, tonight with you guys in Central Texas. I just think, they have all these guys, when they write press releases, they say the premier touring series of Super Late in the country. Well, it really kind of is one of them. You've got that Southern Super Series, the legit SLMs in the Southeast, but Past North is right there with it. And there's the deal with the ARCA Midwest Tour is real strong, where Majeski came out of in the Midwest. Rodney, that in that Wisconsin scene, man, they got some real good super late model racing. So it's very strong out there in the Dairy State as well. But we'd like to think all these guys here in New England, they can really hold their own against about anybody in the country. So, yeah, Bobby, to answer your question, in recent years, yes, Past North has gotten a little more media attention and a little more notoriety. And now people are really realizing that despite it's kind of a 604 crate tour, but boy, it's real competitive, and it's a very level playing field, and it's cost effective, and might not be a ton of guys that go to every single race, but there's other fill-ins all around, and so they never have really, a wussy field. They always got a strong field, and there's always pretty good competitors when they throw the green flag for 150 or more laps, and so, yeah, it's a pretty solid tour these days. It's a wonderful thing. We're blessed to have it here in the Northeast.
Yeah, no doubt. And isn't that the cool part, Phil? Because we've talked about this before, but I mean, we really see, a lot of folks when they think of the super lates, I mean, they think of the Southeast. And now, with the Cars Tour out of North Carolina, they're getting away from the super lates. I think that's going to actually leverage the super late models to go do other stuff, whether it be in the Southeast or whatever. But you have the contingent from up north. I think folks just don't realize that in California, they've got some really damn good super late model drivers out there as well. I think that we're on a good path. I think we're on a good path with the different regions to finally come together in this thing. I don't know if it's going to be, the national tour that we're hoping to see, but I think that we're at a spot where all the regions are going to have to come together because things are thinning out a little bit.
They are. It's I'm trying to think of the right word. Segmented or something, or broken up kind of deal.
Yeah.
It's healthy in the regions that you're touching on. I follow exactly what you're saying, Rodney. It's healthy out west where Garrett Evans and those boys run. And it's healthy in the southeast where Bubba and those boys run. And we got a really healthy gig up here in the North Country. But at some point, we'll have to kind of resurrect what used to take place at Irwindale, right, at the Toyota Showdown back in the day. At some point, we're going to have like, or in the Midwest at Iowa, or one of those nice facility, Richmond, wherever, one of those nice intermediate facilities. It'd be so wonderful to bring those 3 or 4 nice regions of SLMs together and have a big national showdown thing. That's the only thing really that's lacking on the national level for super late model racing, and it's a wonderful concept. I think it's probably coming. I really do, because you're right. Stuff's kind of thinning down and weeding down in that whole world, and so like every other aspect of our oval racing world, those who don't work together will soon shit the bed, right?
Well said. Well said. Well said. Yep.
Well, they keep saying everybody's got to work together out of unity, but there's still a little bit of that regional powerhouse type of thing where, and it deserves to be. Everybody says that their series and their region is the best in the world because that's the series that you race in, right?
Right.
I mean, we think our show is one of the best in the world, but that's because we do our show. We don't do some of these other shows. So I think that sometimes you get blinded by your own, or you get coward, but you get what am I working for? You get your vision blurred by your own farts sometimes. You gotta see it. You gotta see it through the blinders, and you gotta put a different set of glasses on to try to see it from a different perspective. And
beer goggles.
I think it's getting there because another damn good hotbed of super late model racing is in California, that SRL tour. Now, granted, Derek Thorne has made it look easy the last couple of
Jeremy
seasons.
Doss, I mean, all these.
But
guys,
there's some damn good racers out there in California.
Really good. Really good.
Yes, there really is. That is a very, very strong segment out there, and so. But I don't know if they probably get more notoriety and more exposure than we do here up in the woods of northern New England.
Just because where they're at, yeah.
Because of where they're at. So if they're closer to mainstream media, they get a little bit more overall national short track media coverage probably than we do. But we still kicking the ball up here, boss. We're a little cold. We're getting cold now. Later this week, we're all going to be, even down to the coast, we're going to be in the 20s and shit. The growing season is close up here, boys. We are we're just around the corner from Old Man Winter, and so obviously our season is toast, and we're beginning to get preparations for the white stuff here now. But the lucky bastards in the South are still racing. I can't even believe I get to cover shit on live stream right through the Jerry Whitaker Memorial on the 1st of December. I'll be shoveling, and then the next night I'll be kicking in a recliner watching the Whitaker Memorial. I'll be grinning like a shit salesman with a mouthful of samples that
night. I love that, man. That's a soundbite right there.
That may be good. But we have some pretty big news here we should probably address here in the near future.
Yep. We'll do that. But Phil, right before that, give me your synopsis. You've covered so much down here from afar. Give me your assessment on this 2021. I mean, we got to have people back out at the racetrack and just everything that you've watched, because it'll lead right into the big announcement of 2021. Texas Short Track Promoter of the Year.
Oh man, you're going to get me almost as excited, Rodney, and I'll try to contain myself as I was back in Oxford 250 times. But you want to know my take on the 2021 short track season in the state of Texas, guys?
Yes, sir.
Good Lord, two words. Good Lord. I'm pushing 55 shows or something now. I've stared at every minute, every lap, and taken notes and soaked up a lot of shit. I'm a sponge in this sport. I'm soaked up a lot of stuff. Last fall, I think almost a year ago, you guys asked me about a similar question. Where are we at in this resurgence thing and stuff, Phil? Well, I'm glad you asked again right now, because what I've witnessed and covered this year is a lot of really healthy racing wall to wall. Storylines everywhere, from Jet Hefty and the Tuners up through the newcomers and factory stock and Howard Willis still being fast for years and stuff. There was just storylines everywhere, and everybody was healthy and going on. The only guy I think that kind of took it in the shorts a little bit, and I think he got rained out and had some other issues, was our last year's promoter of the year is Owen. I don't think Owen quite had the magnificent 2021 that he did in 2020. Yeah. But boy, a lot of, and he'll tell you too, because he knows these other people, a lot of other tracks around the state, excuse me, they kind of made up for it, because a lot of other guys had very strong years. Selby Holder had a fabulous year at Hot. The two Kevins had a wicked year at RPM. I studied North Texas kind of closely this year, more than I did Central and South Texas, probably because I wanted to learn it. And Boyd and Cannondale and on. All of North Texas, I think, had a fabulous year. And Abilene and all kinds of them. But West Texas, I could go on and on. I think overall that state is in a very, very good way right now with the dirt track program. And I know Gina has made great gains in her asphalt world as well in Houston, as well as over in Mobile. But, man, my take on the dirt deal now, they're going great guns. It just found like a 5th or 6th gear. And I think they're trying to find a 7th or 8th gear in the transmissions next year, because I expect this momentum to continue. It's a nice time to be involved in dirt racing down there, and I'm excited about it. This year was really strong in a lot of aspects, I think, guys.
Mm-hmm.
So it sounds like the will and the review of the promoter of the year, the Texas Short Track Promoter of the Year, may have been slightly more challenging than it was last year. We don't know the overall votes and the way. All we know was the end result last year, which now we don't even know who's going to win this year. But I imagine with everybody amped up a little bit more and getting more races in, that had to make this another challenging decision to determine the promoter of the year.
It was, Bobby. It really was, because you had a lot of them stepping up, and there were lively discussions, although I'll say it right away, they were all very, very civil and good. The boys kicked it into high gear for a couple of weeks straight here not long ago, and they hashed out a lot of names and talked about a lot of stuff, and they considered a lot of them. And I sat back and did the moderator, and I asked a few questions, and I said, well, what do you mean? How come this guy, and how about that guy? They had a lot of lengthy civil discussions, but yet in the end, I said, it's coming up time. Let's do this, boys. I promise we're going to announce this number. Let's get it around. And they all just, in a great civil, professional manner, came together and said, it's these guys. We got to do this in 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, unanimous vote. And so I'm just so fortunate that a couple years ago now, you, Rodney, and Chris selected the 4 individuals who remain anonymous. Those 4 individuals, once again this year, put their heads together and dug in and on a volunteer basis at their own convenience and did this. And again, I was just the overseer and the moderator and hashed out another wonderful recipient. And so, it was a tough challenge, Bobby, to answer your question. It sure was. But in the end, they picked the right people here. They definitely picked the right people. I'm thrilled with the recipients, and I'll thank you guys. I'll go ahead with my prepared texts. I think it's time, guys. I'll thank you, Rodney and Bobby, for the opportunity to showcase an outstanding short track promotional effort again in 2021. This year, we recognize Hey, there it is. That's what I had to wait for.
Sorry.
No,
I was trying to figure out.
perfect.
I was going to text you and say, man, I got to do that sounder.
No, I'm glad you did. We're going to recognize a deserving promotional team this year. As I say, my selection committee members nailed it. It is a great honor for me to announce this year's co-recipients of the Texas Short Track Promoter of the Year Award, presented by Race on Texas and the Revved Up Sports Show, are the dynamic husband-wife team of Rob and Libby Poor, promoters at the popular Abilene Speedway. Rob and Libby kicked off their 2021 season with the Icebreaker back in February. They started their regular points race season in late March and recently finished off with another strong Southern Challenge in mid-October. Now, all year long, Rob and Libby and their staff worked tirelessly to continue a tradition of serving racers and fans in the greater Abilene area with excellence and passion. They did so in fine fashion. On behalf of the selection committee members and all of us at Race on Texas, Chris David's Wine Company, and of course from all of us here at Russ, I say congratulations this evening to two hardworking folks who do an excellent job at keeping short track racing alive and well in the greater Abilene, Texas area. Your winners, once again, Texas Short Track Promoters of the Year, presented by Race on Texas and Revved Up Sports, Rob and Libby Poor of Abilene Speedway. I had a chance to speak with Rob today, just a super wonderful fella, and was really humbled. He almost dropped the phone, I think, and was really humbled. And I told him the plaque is coming and stuff, and all I asked was him and Libby do a little quick video and hold the plaque up and speak. And he said, man, are we going to ever do that? I know he was shocked and humbled, and that's kind of, to be honest, the very finest moments of all these kind of programs, whether it's Driver of the Year or it's this stuff. And when I was involved with the selection committee on the New England Auto Racer Hall of Fame, there's no better moment to call someone and give them that kind of news, because it shows those in the industry have recognized your efforts. And so you get a little blank space for a minute. Sometimes you say, can I hear you say that one more time? You know, They say, can you tell me that again? And you repeat it very politely and you congratulate them, and then they kind of catch their breath and it goes on. But it's neat. It's neat to tell people that, and it's neat that my four guys, who are experts in that industry down there in Texas, unanimously selected Rob and Libby, and I'm very happy for them, and it's nice to recognize their efforts.
Yeah, and Phil, doesn't that really come down to, I mean, one of the things we always try to hammer home on the show here is it's, you know, promoters, people want to complain about them when things go wrong, but every now and then just a subtle thank you, just a, you know, great job, you know, thank you for the effort. I mean, that goes a long way right there, and that really seems to be what you're talking right there with Rob and Libby, that they were, I mean, it's not, I mean, they're not getting $10,000 for this. I mean, they're just getting recognized, and I think that's one thing that we all need to understand about a race promoter. Just recognize the fact that they are trying to keep this thing going.
Yes, that's what my concept was from the get-go when I pitched this thing was to you, and I know for the last, up here, decade anyway, the profitability, the profit margin's about gone in this business.
Yeah.
Talk one-on-one, you know, with these guys. You talk now, and there's just no real money to be made here. It's a struggle to get big money out of sponsorships. You've got businesses involved in sponsorships at the short track level who are just trying to come out or still trying to endure a 2-year pandemic and keep their bottom line alive now. They don't have big checks to write to friggin' racetracks and stuff. It's been a struggle even before that. It's been a struggle to take in much money.
Yep.
The front gate is struggling. They're all focusing, you notice, guys, now, and I'll get your take on this after this topic. They're kind of focusing on the back gate quite a lot now, because that's kind of where the cash cow is. These big money factory stock and open and limited modified events, that translates to a cash cow at the back gate, especially, for example, last weekend, the big show I covered down there at a 105 in Cleveland had 190-something entries or something both nights. And so times 4 or 5 fellas at pit passes and stuff, that takes 2 or 3 wheelbarrows to take the money to the bank on Monday morning. And that kind of can offset your lack of and actually Saturday night they had a big crowd, so the front gate revenue was pretty strong too. But that kind of thing offsets the poor front gate revenue sometimes, especially if the weather's iffy. And so I think they're focusing on back gate a lot now. But overall, man, the sport is strong. We're just blessed, guys, really.
Yeah.
So, Phil, what were some of the underlying characteristics that had Rob and Libby take the lead over some of the other promoters that were in consideration this year?
They have a philosophy. This is the way they treat their races. Some of the things they did at the local community level too, Bobby, they sort of rose above at getting the sponsors they have in the local level involved and giving them a good bang for their buck. That's called good promotional skills.
Yep.
And to retain the customer base that they had. You know, just like a lot of other tracks down there, they kind of felt they endured a little boost up last year because there was when the pandemic shut down rodeos and all the other kind of shit. You had a guy telling you Whitaker, I think, was telling you recently, hey, there was nothing else to do. So a lot of us, and Pittman said it last year, we picked up last year because there weren't other entertainment alternatives. So our grandstands kind of boosted up. So this year they had to retain that customer base. All of a sudden there was a few more things to do, and the pandemic kind of eased a little, and you could have lost those all. So this year I think they had to focus on keeping that customer base, keeping those guys coming back. And the Poors did it very well. They put on a good show. They keep you coming back. They don't charge too much. They keep you coming back. And so if you have a lot of happy customers and you're interacting well with your local sponsors and giving them good bang for their buck and growing that fan base and getting good steady car counts, to me, that's a pretty good indication of darn good promotional skills. And oh, by the way, I think they're on the longest run around the state for a long while. You know, a lot of these other tracks are on a 3-year deal that have a temporary track operator and it runs it for 3-4 years, and then they move on and there's somebody else running it. Well, Rob and Libby have been at this quite a while in Abilene. It's steady consistency thing. It's not as, a good friend of mine that you happen to know too, Mr. Spillman says, you know, boy, they ain't flashy, but they're steady and they're consistent and they do what they say they're going to do. And that's worth its weight in gold. Would you agree, Rodney?
That is what it's all about. And the thing is, Phil, what they do, I mean, something that you were talking about right there, they present a very, compact show that people go to the racetrack. They have their diehard people that go there. Those people tell 2 or 3 people. Those people come out. They bring 4 or 5 people with them, and that's really what has to happen. And I think that the Poors have done such a great job of that they have promoted this thing in a very old school way to where it's. It's another word I like. It's refreshing to see that they're using the old school stuff to do really, really good things.
They are, buddy. It's revert back to the basics is kind of what they do. They do what works in their market area, and hats off to them for doing that. They know what's effective and what works in that market area, and they continue to do so year after year. And this year, my boys thought it was time to recognize their efforts, and I agree 100%. And there were several others that got considered too. There's no second and third place award in this deal. There's one plaque and there's one winner, but we also considered, and I want to mention, it would be remiss if I didn't, the outstanding efforts this year that took place in Crandall. Once again, the 2 Kevins did a fantastic job
they
there.
Did. They really did.
They'll be holding the boys at hot. You, I think, Rodney, maybe had, especially in the first half of the summer, open your eyes a little bit about what goes on there in El Mott. They really, on every Friday night, boomity, boomity, boom, they pump out quite a show there. So I can anticipate in the next 2 or 3, maybe less years, Selby Holder's going to have a plaque on the wall for Promoter of the Year, just like the KRs and stuff. It's just, and Mary Ann's name was bantered about. She's made good, solid efforts at Cotton Bowl yet again. So we said this last year, and I'll say it again this year. Everybody's kind of stepping up and stuff, especially this year, guys. Look at all these wonderful fall shows. I think there's more fall classic kind of things ever going on now, and they're all coming off pretty big. They're all drawing pretty cars. It was pretty good cars. It was a little weird that the fall classic at Hot and that Cowboy Up Classic at RPM were head to head. That one was a little odd. That mileage wise, that might have been a little too close for 2 major events, and I think it hurt KR's car count a little bit, but they just maybe couldn't avoid the conflicting on those dates. But overall, the fall scene has been rich and strong, and I think you've got we were going to have the USRA Southern Nationals at Big O this weekend. I believe they've moved those down to Boot Hill. They're going to be down at Boot Hill, but you've got tons of big shit going on this fall. Still, there's a lot to be excited about between now and the Jerry Whitaker Memorial, first weekend of December. So it continues to rock and roll almost at full throttle. It's pretty nice to be involved with. I continue to say how blessed I am to be involved with it.
Yeah. You are the man, Phil. Thank you so much for all the work that you do, coordinating all this. I mean, Bobby and I could never pull this off. But on behalf of Chris, David, and everybody at Race On and we here at Russ, I mean, thank you for doing this again and again. Rob and Libby Poor, congratulations. Much deserved. 2021 Texas Short Track Promoters of the Year.
You are very, very welcome, Rodney, and thank you too, Bobby. Thank you both for your time again and for the opportunity to do this and for the opportunity of the show tonight. I know you guys will have the wonderful rest of the show. I'll kick back, grab a sweet tea, listen to the balance of your program, and again, thanks ever so much for the opportunity.
You are the man. Anytime, buddy. We'll talk soon, man. Keep it on, buddy. Proud of you.
All right. Thanks so much, Rodney. Have a good evening,
You
gentlemen.
got it, man. Take care.
All righty.
You bet. There he is, Phil Whipple.
The one and only Phil Whipple.
And I think the thing was because, like, when he was talking to me about this, he's like, I think it's going to be unanimous. And like we were talking about right there with the Poors, I'm like, so I'm thinking, I'm like, who's it going to be? And he's not telling me, he's not giving me, okay, so-and-so is saying this person, so-and-so. I mean, he is so good at what he does. And I can tell you, because I do know the four, and for him to be able to coordinate all those people to I mean, I know last year there was some animated stuff as it was, but last year was a whole different thing. I mean, there were so many different things that went into that. But just to be unanimous like that, I think that's very impressive with everything that's gone on at Abilene.
I think it has been. I mean, Abilene's been a staple. While not as long and as successful as Heart of Texas, the Abilene, that icebreaker for years has been going on for years and is one of the marquee events that a lot of people like to win. There for a while, it was the first big show. Now, it's still up there as far as, first of the year kickoff shows. There's been some that's been come in a little bit sooner, but that icebreaker stood out alone for years. Everybody went to Abilene, and that was the race that you wanted to win.
Right, yeah. I do see some great conversation going on there about, with the tire thing and everything coming up with Snowball. And I haven't seen any schedule alterations, as to what's going to happen there. I mean, I see some chatter there about what they're doing with tires, but that's going to factor in. And I think I am hoping that maybe with all of this going on, that maybe this is where we get that back in line. I mean, I love it. It's a great event. I mean, it's a great event, but maybe this will be the thing that'll pull that back in line and maybe make this, maybe a little more affordable, I guess. I mean, I don't think that we need to be there 4 days on track. I mean, if you want to go there for vacation, whatever, but that's a lot. I mean, because the way these teams get out on the track and drive, I mean, that's a lot of cost, and maybe this helps rein that in. I don't know.
Well, maybe it may take away one set of practice, maybe. I think it really just depends on how many sets of tires that Hoosier's able to make. We saw it be a problem there at that last Blizzard Series race there with the blistering and all of that just wasn't working. So I don't know. I would be very apprehensive. There are drivers that we know that are considering not running the Derby because of the fact they don't want to tear up their cars by blowing out tires and totaling out cars going as fast as you are going down there into turns 1 and turn 3.
Yeah, when you're pulling tires right out of the oven and putting them on there, and these guys are getting out there. I know that we saw some of the repaving going on right there, but I don't know. I mean, you hate to adjust such a great event, but it really is. I mean, it's a lot for the biggest short track race the World Series. I mean, I know we got the Astros playing tomorrow. The World Series is going on, but when you have the World Series of short track racing, I mean, it really has taken out the little guy, the not full time thing, because so many of these, a certain friend of the show that may have received one of those that lives near there, tells me there's people out there practicing. I mean, there's people out there working tires. I mean, there's people out there doing stuff. We need to reel that in. And I don't know. I would hate for the Snowball to diminish itself because people can't spend a lot of money going out there getting tires and they don't want to race because of that.
Well, I mean, I think that you don't want it's a marquee event. I mean, when the guys,
for sure, yeah. I mean, yeah, no doubt.
When we talked to Phil about the different regions and stuff, having to think that their show is the best. All those guys that think they race in the best area are bringing their stuff to the Derby.
Yeah.
I mean, we see it. Derek Thorne, Jeremy Doss come in from California. You get Casey Johnson and Ty Majeski and some of those guys up there from the Midwest and way up there. We've seen Rowe and some of those guys. They even have some guys from Canada come buzzing down here. So it's a major event. It still is a major event. Let's just hope that the tires don't become the story that make it seem, that take away the prestige and becomes hopefully the tires become a non-factor in the race. But I think between the repave and the tire issues and stuff like that, it could definitely make for a very, very interesting 54th annual Snowball Derby.
Well, I've talked to a lot of people that have asked, I mean, how about the American Racer, whatever. I mean, there's contracts in place. I mean, that's where this race is so, tight-knit. Now you got Hooters back in as the title sponsor. the presenting sponsor. I mean, all that. This really is. I mean, we just had the All-American 400 yesterday, and I mean, this is one of those marquee races where there's a lot of money involved in this, and you just can't say, okay, run the American Racers, because there's stuff in place with Hoosier, and I think that's where it's so tough.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, that's why it's really tough in terms of trying to get any kind of stuff moving. The American Racers have proved to be a very good and useful tire that a lot of people have really enjoyed. Everybody we talked to that was worried about a Hoosier tire or a change from the Hoosier tire to the American Racers ended up having their dreams met. They say the tires are great. They perform well under race conditions and everything else. So that has become a non-issue. Now, we did see some of the Hoosier issues, as we just talked about, come into effect at one of the Blizzard doubleheader for sure, because they definitely had some issues with the tires there.
Yeah, and we'll see. That's to be determined. But the guy on the hotline right now may be able to tell us about what's going on with tires and so forth. I mean, because that really is going to be the underlying story of the Snowball Derby coming up. But we'll get to that. But welcoming in another one of our great friends right here, and what a great young talent as we hit the hotline. It is Hunter Johnson, driver of the Kurt Britt Motorsports truck. Hunter, how we doing, man?
I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself?
Doing well, sir. Doing well. How exciting was it for you? Another weekend over at Mobile, another big win. Got to be good for you. What a great season.
Yeah, thank you. I'm pretty excited about it. Glad we had as good of a year as we've had, in Mobile. Sweeping 4 out of the 5 myself.
Nice.
I believe my teammate getting the other one. We're going to Pensacola, winning the season opener. Then having a consistent years and having to come down to a final race between me and my teammate, and was luckily able to pull the win there and got the championship down there. So pretty stoked year for me so far.
No doubt.
So how challenging is that to come through and just stay focused on that? I mean, we saw yesterday from the Cup race at Martinsville that teammates can be both a hindrance and a good thing. Talk about the balance between racing your teammate and racing your own race for your own titles and stuff like that.
Yeah, my teammates, we like to give each other a hard time off the track and on the track. We know we can go a little bit harder with each other, those limits, so we can really fight each other a lot harder, like me and Gavin Graham at Pensacola.
Uh-oh. May have lost him there for a second, so we'll see. There he is. We got you, man. We got you, Hunter.
That's not good.
There we go. we got you. We got you.
But yeah, it's pretty fun fighting teammates, especially when you can push each other to the limits and keep it clean throughout the whole race. I mean, me and Gavin Graham had a really good season together. I mean, going head to head every week basically, and me and kept both gave it our hardest and try to see who can make more.
Yeah. So let's talk about you. I mean, so many young, great talents that Kurt Britt brings into the fold right here. Give us a whole your career up until now. How did it start? How'd you get where you're at right now?
I started out, my dad, back in his day, he ran dirt cars. So once I got age, about 2008-ish, somewhere around there, I dirt chassis go-kart and to a couple laps around there. Started a lot of it, so then we went next season, go-kart, back, ran a full year of it, kind of just getting into it. Then the second year, we really stepped it up. Me and a couple of the go-kart guys, we went head-to-head, me and one guy, the only 2 cars advertised racing that was there. After go-karts, went into the Legend Series for about 4 years, won a couple championships there, got a couple wins there, and then after 4 years of doing that, we ended up getting a pro truck, ran the first year, the first half by ourselves, and we got introduced with Kurt Britt, and then he started working on that truck a little bit, and then after that, we got the new truck, started running it some more with him, and got it faster. And now I'm very thankful for the opportunity of him letting me drive his truck and so far so good. I'm hoping we can go finish on a good one.
That's right. That's right.
So you can't see it or not. We got the picture of you holding those great big promo checks. You know that they like the 2x4 foot promo checks. Everybody likes to hang in their shop. But the one thing that everybody has mentioned, because wasn't lucky enough to go to Mobile, had to go to a wedding, is that trophy with that racer holding up that title belt. That's got to be one of the more unique trophies that you've ever received in your racing career, right? Because that thing looks pretty slick in the pictures.
Oh yeah, it's a fantastic look, and I love that trophy. I don't know if we want to put it at the shop, or we're going to just hang it up somewhere in the house, make it so everybody that comes here sees it.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Yeah, I hated that myself as well. I had to miss that race. I've called your wins there up until this one. But let's talk about Kurt. I mean, that's a great friend of our show, and I mean, he, like I said, I mean, he finds the talented young drivers. Talk about him, the impact of his race team, and just everything that he does, you know, not only for you, but, I mean, all your teammates.
He's a real great guy. Ever since he took me basically under his wing, I've been working with him. Me and my stepbrother, we both work for Kurt. So every day, 8 in the morning, we go to his shop. We'll get all the trucks clean. We'll get them all raced ready. Then he brings in some new talents, and he looks towards me to go and help mentor them around the track. Like this past weekend, we had a new kid run for the first time at Mobile, so I was helping him all day during Friday's practice. I gave him a lot of good pointers, try to help him get better. He's still got a lot of potential that he can show, and I'm very excited to see how he does. Gavin Graham's a good teammate. He does an excellent job. He always gives A for efforts. Teammate Jeff, he does such a great job in the truck he is in. We hopefully have a great showing.
So I think we still got Hunter. Hunter, you still with us? I think so.
Yeah, maybe so.
Maybe so.
Still got me.
There we go.
There we go.
We got him.
You must be nervous. You must be nervous. You must be walking around something at the shop tonight.
Now. Oh. Did I go again?
Yep. Got you in parts and pieces right there. Just a little bit. Yeah.
Let's see.
There you go. Right there.
I'm not even moving. This is confusing.
Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, that's
we
crazy.
figured you were nervous of walking around the shop, you know, after winning all those big races, you know, having to follow all your truck owner and your teammates and stuff on the show. Figured you might be a little nervous. But so speaking of nerves, when you talk about seeing all the resources that Kurt has over there, and you see some of the different machines, any extra aspirations about maybe running the pro late model again, or running it at all? What's the future hold for you coming up next here?
I'm not sure. I haven't really put too much thinking about it, but hopefully I can run his pro late model maybe some next year, or maybe the outlaw late model. Just still trying to figure everything out. I would really love to. It'd be a great opportunity to really see what I can do and something a little bit bigger.
Yeah, yeah. So your thoughts? I mean, we're going to Snowball, and now I mean the trucks are so strong, you know, at Five Flags and good stuff. You know, they're at Mobile. Your thoughts on that race? That's going to be fun because you're going to have a lot of guys that are coming in, and I think hell that might be the best race of the week of the whole damn weekend.
Oh yeah, it's we're gonna have probably a huge truck count. Maybe I'm thinking maybe about 20 plus or so. So it'll be a very big truck field. I know everybody's gonna give it 110% for 50 laps. Hopefully we can put a long green flag run.
Yep.
It's gonna be pretty exciting. I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
All right, so Hunter, one last question before we turn you loose. We were talking about tires. So a couple of things, being that you're in the area down there. One, have you heard any update on the Hoosier tires for the Derby? And then two, talk about the American racers. You know, you're preparing, help prepare the other trucks. I mean, how well have those American racers been for your program?
I don't really get that much of the details from anyone. But the American races, they're pretty. And between the Hoosiers and American racers, I personally don't think so. I feel like they're very equal. Like Hoosiers, maybe within half a chance or so, and not huge difference, but so if I got to run on one or the other, I'm down to do it.
Yeah, no doubt, because you have been good on both, so good stuff right there. Hunter, congratulations on another big win at Mobile, and look forward to seeing you here in just a few weeks over at Pensacola, my friend.
Sweet, thank y'all. Have fun.
Absolutely. Take care, buddy. We'll talk soon. You bet. There he is, Hunter Johnson, and he's jumped in that. I mean, Kurt's trucks are so good.
All of them.
So good.
Every one of them.
Yeah, and I will say, I think that truck race at Snowball, it's going to be, that could be kind of one of those classic truck races that we used to have out there. I mean, remember when they would bring a bunch of trucks out? I think it's going to be a good one, man.
There's only one drawback to the truck race. It's on Thursday night.
Yeah, that's a shitty part.
That's a drawback. I think you lose a couple extra racers that can't take off that work, but you can't blame Tim. I mean, from a promoter's perspective, it's really smart to bring in, you're going to have extra 20 or 30 trucks pull up on a Thursday night because the truck show's part of the Derby.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it where the trucks are running at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning down there at the Derby after the snowflake, and that's not a lot of fun either, but I guess it's the lesser of two evils. But I think they've kind of found their home there on Thursday night as probably the main event there. No disrespect to the sportsmen and the pure stock drivers over there, but really the truck race is that main event for Thursday night. Friday night's qualifying and the modified race, and you got Saturdays, obviously the main events, the Snowflake and the Alan Turner Hyundai Snowflake 100. Got to make sure we get the right plugs in over there.
Get that right.
And then, of course, the 54th annual Snowball Derby presented by Hooters. Yes, got that one in there too. So
Hooters.
Did you? Speaking of Hooters, did you see the uproar about their new uniforms?
Oh God, no! What'd I miss?
Apparently, the new uniforms, the shorts are shorter.
Well, good. They need to take the pantyhose off.
Yeah, the shorts are shorter, and apparently some of the workers had complained.
Are they still wearing the pantyhose?
I don't know. I just saw that they were complaining about the shorts. When you see them side by side, they don't look all that different. But apparently, when the particular pieces of clothing are on, they do appear completely different to the naked eye.
Well, those have always been shorter, I think. But I mean, to me, the problem, not problem, but the one thing that I go back to all the time, it's like, I mean, let them not wear the pantyhose. I mean, to me, that's kind of old school, 1970s. When you're doing that, I mean, let them, do like, Twin Peaks and all.
I didn't get to trick or treat at Twin Peaks, but I can only imagine what the costumes are like at Twin Peaks last night.
Yeah, and I mean, I'm surprised. I am seriously surprised that those places are still able to do business with everything going on. Right now, I'm really surprised. Really surprised.
Guess we need to take advantage of that while they're still open and go to our local Twin Peaks and support those that support themselves the hard way, right?
And we'll go to the damn Hooters at Five Flags or at Pensacola.
Yeah, that's exactly what we'll do.
So our man, before we get out of here, our man Austin Wayne Self got in a little bit of a twist right there with the old truck race there, as he had that Texas mentality where somebody was kind of using him up on the backside. Maybe he wasn't he was about to lose a lap, whatever was going on right there. John Hunter Nemechek luckily able to get into the playoffs, but old AWS did the hook. Supposedly, I don't know if he did it or not, but
well, video looks like he did it.
It looked just like 1986.
Couldn't see the hands, but it looked
just like Earnhardt with Waltrip at Richmond. It looked like a very similar incident. But your thoughts on that? I mean, they were. I could tell the announcers were all pissed off at Austin Wayne, and it's that's how they race nowadays.
It's always, you have to be aggressive everywhere, every track. I mean, I think had it not been a playoff contender, that's been the biggest point of the whole thing, point of contention for everybody, every series, trucks, Xfinity, and the Cup Series, is how you race the the playoff contenders. And I think had it not been a playoff contender, nobody would have batted an eye. They said, oh, hell, that's just Martinsville right there.
It's good racing.
Yeah, exactly.
Good racing. So luckily, that is a good thing. I'm glad that Nemechek got in, because that could have been bad for one of our locals. I mean, I know folks don't want to claim Austin, but I'm like, come on, man. He's done his time. He's out there racing. So All-American 400, Matt Craig wins. Sucks for Donnie Wilson Racing. Another battery issue right there with about 20 to go. It looked like that was going to be a Chandler Smith, parking that thing in Victory Lane. But Matt Craig, Jackson Boone, Derek Griffith, Carson Quapple, Willie Allen, a crown jewel. I mean, great race.
I mean, it is. I mean, it has been on there for a while. I mean, granted, it used to be the 400 lapper, but I like the way they still have the All-American 400 weekend. 300 laps in a super late model around the Nashville Fairgrounds is still a hell of a grueling race, whether it's 300 or 400 laps. So it's still a crown jewel, despite what anybody says with the reduction of laps. But it's a ask anybody that's won it. They don't give back that trophy saying, oh, it should have been 400 laps instead of 300.
That's right.
It's still a crown jewel.
That's right. So right before we go, another soundbite. Kyle Busch involved in some of the stuff yesterday, and I think we actually got the doctored one down just in case. But with all of the short track fun that we saw, here's some thoughts yesterday from Kyle Busch.
Well, he drills my ass coming out of 4 for no reason. I mean, where was he going? What was he going to do? Spin me out? He was trying to do a Harvick is what he was trying to do. For what? For second place? To do what? He wasn't going to transfer through with that. Just freaking retarded, man. So stupid. I don't understand these guys. I should beat the shit out of them right now is what I should do, but that doesn't do me any good either.
Why not? I mean, Crafty yesterday said that's what some of these guys need. With the lack of respect.
I've already had to pay enough fines in my lifetime. I'm sure I'll get another one. Can you let me know if you're going to so I can video it, please?
So why are people like bent out of shape about that? I mean, we want the emotion. We want them to act.
That R word is.
Well, no.
That's a little outside the box. You can't use that word anymore.
I get that part, but it's like people are mad at him for having the emotion of talking about wanting to go beat the shit out of. I mean, but he didn't. All of that yesterday. I mean, there it is, right there. That's what we want.
But he didn't come off arrogant and cocky. I think that's the difference. A lot of times he comes off smug, arrogant, and cocky when he does interviews like that. Kind of like Denny Hamlin came off.
Yeah, well.
To me, Kyle Busch wasn't his normal self there, but it was a damn good interview. It makes great sound bites, and I just think he didn't come off near as smug as he normally does.
Yeah, well,
his teammate on the other hand is going to be booed out the building.
Oh
from Phoenix.
Man, if he wins that race, I think that this Sunday thing is going to be a whole lot of fun. And Phoenix has lacked the pizzazz, since they did the repave or whatever. But I think we got some guys in there, and seriously, like we were talking about. I mean, Truex is sitting there laughing right now. I mean, when we ran the soundbite, because I was pulling that off of YouTube, the soundbite, with everything there with Denny, talking about Chase, Truex is sitting there laughing, and Larson is as well. I mean, it's Larson's to lose, and he may go out and dominate this race, but just in the pattern that we have watched all of these championship races since we started the playoffs, I really don't think that anybody's going to walk off. I think that. And that's going to be the next thing that we're going to talk about when Larson doesn't run off and leave them all behind. It's going to be the fixes in. But I think this one here might be one for the books right here coming up on Sunday.
I think it's got the chance to be good. It almost reminds me of the Final Four, the Championship Four from a couple of years ago when you had Truex was dominating that race. And I guess who won it that year? I guess that was the year Kyle Busch won it, the second one.
Yeah.
And it was one of those where it was Truex's race to lose because he was dominating, and they unfortunately put the tires on the wrong side.
Right.
And it ruined it for him, and that's when I think they had Joey Logano and Brad Keselowski in it again. But that one was anybody's race. It was kind of like the you don't have the mentality. The one that always stands out to me is the one where Joey Logano won, where it was the big three and me.
Yeah.
Where he ended up having all that momentum. What we've seen is that the people that come out of Martinsville with most of the momentum, especially since they redid the schedule, have been the ones that have won the championship.
Yeah, and I think it was impressive that Truex got in because he looked like a pinball yesterday.
I mean, yeah, at one portion he was.
Yeah, I mean, every time he turned around, I mean, he was getting stuck in the fence and getting hit from behind, and I mean, there were so many different things that were going to keep him from getting in. But I just think that this thing sets up nicely, and I mean, come on, let's whether you like NASCAR or not, just appreciate this thing. I mean, there's going to be a lot of speaking going on during the week. I mean, there's a lot of it's mainstream, and I think that's a thing that we need to appreciate because this helps us with local racing because people are going to latch onto this, and if this thing really grabs its legs like we think it's going to. I think that this is so good for everyone because I think it's cool because you have Chase, you have Larson. I mean, they're the big figures right now. I mean, those are the two, but you do have you have the sleeping giant sitting right there, which is Truex, and I think that we're in for something here that's really going to, I don't think it's going to bring people back, but. Maybe they'll catch a highlights or, the people that don't watch will happen to watch and maybe they'll get animated at this thing.
It is on network TV, so that's a plus.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that it's going to be exciting. I'm excited for this. I think that we have a good 4 in there. I think it's a good 4. I wish Logano could have got in because he is the one that I think that he maybe could have got in and maybe he'd be the one. He don't give a shit. He'll just go stick the bumper in somebody. But I think we got a good 4.
I think so. But have you been surprised at the number of non-playoff drivers that are winning? Obviously,
I love
Larson's winning a lot.
Sure.
And Hamlin's won a couple here throughout the playoffs, but it just seems like these guys that are not in the playoffs that have come through and won a couple, including Bubba Wallace winning that one at Talladega.
Sure. That's a real win.
But it's, who out of the blue, Alex Bowman wins yesterday. Like he wasn't on my fantasy team. He wasn't even on my radar.
Well, and I think that's one of the things that really when folks talk about the playoffs, I think it's so special about the way we do this because I've mentioned this, in the NBA, you come down, you have 2 teams. It's 2 teams on the court. Baseball, right now, you got the Astros. You got the Astros playing the Braves. Whenever we have the Super Bowl, it's going to be Dallas and whoever else from the AFC. And right now, I mean, you have 8. It was 8 yesterday, and now it's going to be 4. Everybody else is still out there, and they want to win. They want to win. Yeah, they're going to show the guys some respect. I mean, they're not going to. Yeah, they're not going to get out of the damn way, but they're going to get out there, and I think that's what's so special about this whole playoff thing that makes it so cool.
I think that's the beauty of the sport. We're the only ones that do it that way.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, I think since the playoff, I like the playoff format better than I did the chase format.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no doubt. And I've had folks that have tweeted at me and they're like, well, you keep saying that about, the NBA and all that. But those are team sports. This is a team sport as well. But that really is the nice thing about it is that, yeah, it's team, but it's the drivers. But we're not running a trophy dash on Sunday. We ain't having 4 goddamn cars out on the track. We're having 40 or whatever, however many they have. I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's going to be pretty cool.
It's got a chance to be a really good race and a really entertaining race, and that's what we want. I mean, that's what you want to see. That's what you want. That's why we watch. I mean, I think that our buddy Adam Stern hadn't posted the ratings there, but I have a feeling the ratings for Martinsville, I would say they creeped up over the course of the event as that intensity started picking up.
Yeah.
But it took a while for the Cup race to live up to the hype of the other 2 races. That finish in the truck race was insane and crazy. So was
absolutely.
The finish in the Xfinity Series was crazy. I think Noah Gragson actually gained a few fans instead of losing a few fans like normally. But
and I think this is a year on Sunday where the champion doesn't win the race because of what you were talking, where you're talking about. I mean, you have all these guys that come in, and whether it be Bowman or William Byron or hell Harvick. I mean, somebody. I think that this is a year where I would love to see the championship come down to 4th or 5th place. With these guys, and I think it's a year. I do think that this is going to shake things up, and of course, that's where all the naysayers are going to come back in because it's like you shouldn't be the champion and finish 5th or whatever. But it used to be that the champion had to finish 30th, and he would win the title.
The week before, it was wrapped up at Rockingham with a race to go.
Exactly. But anyway, we'll have more coverage of that as we get ready to crown a champion, and what. What a fun race. I mean, again, it came down to you had to sit there for about 475 laps, but it got good.
Yeah, I finally got there. Right, it took a minute to get there. I will say I love listening to the race on radio, but as I listened to it coming back from Corpus from the wedding, it was nice to watch it on TV because even listening to our buddy Dave Moody this afternoon, there was so much action going on, he couldn't figure out which action to talk to.
Yeah,
but yesterday on the TV, they had all three windows up that had the battle for the lead.
Love it.
The battle for the transfer spots and the battle for the next to get in with Truex and some of the other spots he was in. You got to see all three of those at the same time. So for that race, TV won out for me, but a lot of times I can listen to it on the radio and be just fine. But I think TV did a really good job covering it from the perspective of who was in, who was out, and they'll probably do the same thing as good next week. You're going to know if it's a big deal if Mike Tirico shows up on the pre-race.
Yeah, maybe Danica will be there. Who knows?
Maybe.
Yeah.
She only does fancy stuff now, though.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. She's outgrown us. But she's doing good. She's doing good. Congratulations to Rob and Libby Poor as from Abilene Speedway as they are 2021 Revved Up Sports Show Race on Texas Promoters of the Year. And again, like we talked about, I mean, so many great ones, but they've done it quietly. But man, what a following, and that's what you have to have. I mean, just keep bringing people back. I mean, you got to have the front gate and the back gate, and that's one of the things that Phil was talking about right there. Owen did this last year, is they have had both gates, and that's why they are so deserving. And they're not doing it with a lot of pizzazz. They're just taking care of business and much deserved. And it was unanimous, and that's when it tells you how impressed that the committee was with that.
Yeah, I think so. The unanimous part is great, and not that the committee members come through and fight a whole lot. They give their opinion, and they're all respectful of the other's opinion. But I think the fact that it's a universal vote, and for a track that's not, it's not really mainstream. I think it sounds negative towards Abilene Speedway, but
I know. Yeah.
but it's not. They don't have a lot of controversy. They have a couple of big races, and they
clean.
stick to the weekly
it's
program,
clean,
and it's in the gate, good show, out of the gate, come back, see you next week.
Yeah, doing everything in a timely manner, and that's what it's all about. And happy customers. I mean, that's a big part of it as well. Hunter Johnson, as he wins at Mobile, and Gina, what a great weekend for her. She had 52 cars there practicing on Friday. She messaged me that, and that's pretty good. When you talk about a practice day.
It's pretty, for 52 cars for practice is actually really, really outstanding work. Nothing but good positive things. Think about they have a whole off season to work on that place.
Yeah. And Gulf Coast, it's going to be good. Just really good stuff. Great program. Glad everyone checked in, and we'll do it again next Monday. We're back at it. Never know who might pop up on this show. Never know.
And I guarantee it'll probably surprise you, so stay tuned.
Yeah. Fun stuff. You guys be good this weekend. What do we have this weekend? Nothing
local. Just the cup stuff is all that's there.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I got football.
I do too. I got a lot of football.
I'll be traveling to watch number 16 UTSA take on UTEP at the Sun Bowl in El Paso. So if I don't come back, if I don't respond to the text that I'm not at the game, you might call 911 because I might have got kidnapped.
I'll be watching the Dallas Cowboys win yet again on the road to the Super Bowl, and Texas lose again. That's what I'll be doing. But great program. Thanks to Phil Whipple. Thanks to Hunter Johnson. He's Bobby. I'm Rodney. We gone. We'll be back next Monday right here. It's #Real Race Talk from Texas.